Yo, it's your boy Premonitions, PR3, number 3, where the letter E supposed to be. Third eye open, that's why I see what they can't see. And we back with another NBA video on our Third Eye Talks Hoops channel. So, before I jump in and do anything, I gotta make sure I show love, appreciation, and gratitude to every single person who liked, commented, or subscribed. This content is gonna be consistent. It's gonna be fire. Every Sunday, every Wednesday, expect a new video from the Third Eye. The top 25 video doing excellent numbers. Go check that one out if you haven't, because this is going to be the second half of that video. This is going to be numbers 14 through 1 on our top 25 players heading into next NBA season. Just a reminder, we're rating these players based on anticipated production, anticipated impact on winning, anticipated availability, as well as track record. So, no more time wasted. Let's jump into the second half of our top 25 video. Kicking it off with our number 14 player heading into next NBA season, Victor Wembanyama. So, last year, Wemby put up 21.4 points per game, 10.6 rebounds, 3.9 assists. He shot 46.5% from the field, as well as 32.5% from three, which was pretty solid on 6 attempts per game. In addition, he also averaged 3.6 blocks a game, and he did all that in just over 30 minutes a game. Not to mention, Wemby was all defensive first team. He was top 3 defensive player of the year as a rookie, as well as made all rookie first team. Look, I don't anticipate the Spurs winning a whole lot of games, but one thing I do like, I like the fact that Wemby showed us he could be durable last year. He played over 70 games, and especially with his slim frame coming in with the big boys in the NBA, he showed he could hold up, and he's going to produce. And he's already putting up historic numbers, the likes of which we have not seen. And he was doing that as a rookie in just over 30 minutes a game. Gotta expect his minutes to increase. The fact that they added Chris Paul should be a nice addition to help give him some better looks. Good mentorship there. Look, Spurs ain't going to win a whole lot of games. They'll be improved. But Wemby's going to produce, and he's going to produce at an historic level. So I got Victor Wembanyama as my number 14 player heading into next NBA season. My number 13 player is a player who really did a good job of redeeming himself last year, especially in the playoffs, and that is Kyrie Irving from the Dallas Mavericks. So, last year, Kyrie put up 25.6 points per game, 5 rebounds, 5.2 assists. He shot around 50% from the field and 41% from 3. Kyrie, look, here's the reality. Kyrie really did a good job of redeeming himself last year in a lot of people's eyes. And this year, the Mavericks are going to be competing for a top 4 seed. Kyrie's going to put up big numbers. He's going to have the ball in his hands as well when the game's on the line. So he's going to impact winning, and he's going to produce. Last year, Kyrie was available. He played the most games he's played in a little over 3 years. So I fully anticipate the Mavericks to have a strong season, and Kyrie Irving is going to be a huge part of that with his production. So I have Kyrie Irving as my number 13th player heading into next season. And who's number 12? Well, one step ahead of him is a player who Kyrie, in my opinion, hit the greatest shot in NBA playoff history over. That is Steph Curry from the Golden State Warriors as my number 12 player heading into next year. Steph last year put up 26.4 points per game, 4.5 rebounds, 5 assists, 45% from the field, and he shot around 41% from 3 on 12 attempts a game. So, even at this stage in his career, Steph Curry is still showing very, very high efficiency, especially from the three-point line, and he led the league in attempts. So the fact that he's putting up 12 threes a game and hitting them at a 40% clip, that's excellent. Steph also played 74 games last year, which is most games played in about 5 years. In addition, he was an all-NBA player. He once again made an all-star team. So the production is there. The track record is there. As far as the winning goes, I do anticipate Golden State being slightly improved. As much as I loved Klay, I think there was a lot of negativity around that team last year because we didn't know what was going to happen with Klay Thompson's contract situation. I think them splitting up is going to be great for both parties. I think the Warriors will be slightly improved. Still not guaranteeing them a playoff spot, but they're going to be fighting for that play-in. Steph's going to have another strong year. He's going to put up great numbers. So Steph Curry is my number 12 player heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. Who's number 11? Number 11, a player who impressed me to a high degree last year, and if you watch, he should have impressed you too. That is Anthony Davis from the Los Angeles Lakers. So Last year, AD put up 24.7 points a game, 12.6 rebounds, 3.5 assists. He shot around 55% from the field, 27% from three. AD is not a three-point shooter, and right around 2.5 blocks. AD was also all defensive first team. He was all NBA. He was an all-star. And what really impressed me most about AD, and this is actually crazy to even think about, last year Anthony Davis played the most games he's ever played in his NBA career. I repeat, Anthony Davis played the most games he played in his NBA career. So combined with the fact that he was more available than he's ever been, more productive, or at least just as productive you've ever seen, and the fact that I do anticipate the Lakers being improved, I'm going to get into more of why I expect the Lakers to be improved a little bit later. But there's no doubt in my mind, Anthony Davis, one of the 5 most versatile defenders in the league, still gets you 25 points per game, and now he plays games? Nah. AD's my number 11 player heading into next season. Who's cracking number 10? None other than Anthony Edwards from the Minnesota Timberwolves. So, last year, Ant-Man put up 25.9 points per game, 5.4 rebounds, 5 assists, 46% from the field, and around 36% from three on 3 attempts. We in the top 10, people. So everybody here that I name is going to be a fantastic player, so we're going to have to start splitting hairs. So I'm going to talk about the one negative right now I have against Ant Edwards, and right now that is track record. So last year, we did see Ant Edwards finish in the top 10 for MVP. He was also an all-star, and he was an all-NBA performer. Combine that with the fact that I saw his ascension in the playoffs, I'm expecting a big year from Anthony Edwards. Like I said, the only thing keeping him down on this list is the fact that, we've only seen one season of that MVP caliber type play. I would also like to see him improve a little bit more as a playmaker, but the reality is Ant Edwards got the mindset, he got the game, he's clutch, he makes winning plays, he's available, he doesn't miss a lot of games, and Minnesota is going to be fighting for that top 4 seed as well again. Look, Anthony Edwards is going to produce, he's going to impact winning at a high level, and he's the type of player who shows up when it really matters. Look, I fully expect Anthony Edwards to be a great player next season. That's why I have him as my number 10 player heading into next NBA season. Number 9. I often tell my students, keep it simple. Y'all heard me say that last video. Keep it simple. Number 9 is Kevin Durant from the Phoenix Suns. Look, last year, KD put up 27.3 points per game, 6.6 rebounds, 5 assists, 52% from the field, 41% from 3. He was also a top 10 MVP candidate. He was an all-NBA performer, and he was an all-star. Why do I say keep it simple? Look, we always looking to anoint new faces. We always looking to be these stat-tracking, analytical, blah, blah, blah heads. Look, this man is 7 feet tall, has the best mid-range game in the NBA, shoots 41% from 3, would actually probably benefit him to shoot a few more threes. And when Kevin Durant's engaged, due to his length and his IQ, he can be one of the most disruptive defenders that you will see on the court. Look, the Suns, I anticipate the Suns being right around that 6th seed. I'm expecting mid to high 40s on the wins. The roster is flawed. But one thing that's not flawed is Kevin Durant. The man gets buckets, the man produces, and he is efficient. And I have Kevin Durant as my number 9 player heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season. Now we on to number 8. And like I tell you, this third eye is unbiased. But number 8 is going to be Jaylen Brunson from the New York Knicks. So, Jaylen Brunson put up last year 28.7 points a game, 3.6 rebounds, 6.7 assists. He shot 48% from the field. And he was around 40% from 3. He was also number 3 in the MVP voting. He was an all-NBA performer and an all-star. So let's simply look at availability first. Jaylen Brunson played at least 68 games since he's been there. He played over 70 last year. Expect him to be available. Track record. This is now 2 straight seasons of Jaylen Brunson being an MVP candidate, all NBA level performer. And when you look at production and impact on winning, guy gets you 28 points a game, nearly 7 assists, shoots a high percentage. And the Knicks have one of the deepest rosters in the NBA. No bias. Open your third eye. You will see. The Knicks are deep. And we're going to be competing for a top 3 seed, in my opinion, at minimum. And that's going to have a lot to do with Jaylen Brunson. If you saw him in the playoffs, you understand that man is a system unto itself. He runs that team, a master, a savant at the mid-range, orchestrates the game, moves at his own pace. Look, Jaylen Brunson's a phenomenal player, had a phenomenal year. The Knicks are loaded in the East. They're going to compete for a top 3 seed, and Jaylen Brunson is going to have the biggest reason on that team. Well, he will be the biggest reason on that team that they are a top 3 seed and a championship contender. So I got Jaylen Brunson as my number 8 player heading into next NBA season. Number 7. To me, right now, he is the most polarizing player in the NBA based on where you stand. And this is why you got to get that third eye perspective so you can really understand what you're looking at. My number 7 player heading into next season is Jayson Tatum of the Boston Celtics. So, last year, Jayson Tatum put up 26.9 points a game, 8.1 rebounds, 4.9 assists, 47.1% from the field. He also shot right around 38% from 3. He was an all-NBA player as well as an all-star. Another example of let's keep it simple. Look, we can try to be those ESPN, Fox Sports heads and overanalyze. This is a guy who can go out there and score 60 at a win. Does he have his flaws? Yes. He needs to improve his ball handling, and I also think he needs to improve that shot selection because he has a lot of those off nights because Jason just shoots way too many step-back threes. But when he is hitting those, he's unguardable. He's unguardable. And he kind of reminds me of Kobe in a lot of the ways because he's a really, really good bad shot maker. Keep it simple, folks. This man is the best player on the best team in the NBA, and he produces at an all-NBA level. I have Jayson Tatum as my number 7 player heading into next NBA season. Number 6, the man who was undefeated by Father Time. My number 6 player heading into next season is LeBron James from the Los Angeles Lakers. So, last year, LeBron put up 25.7 points a game, 7.3 rebounds, 8.3 assists. He shot 54% from the field, and he shot a career-high 41% from 3 on 5 attempts a game. He was also All-NBA. He was also an All-Star, and he actually played the most games he's played since he got to LA. Look, LeBron is going to produce. That is unquestioned. There's actually nobody in the history of the NBA who produces at the level LeBron James does. When you take into account he's the all-time leading scorer and his ability to pass the ball and set up his teammates. The reason why I have LeBron so high in addition to the production track record, because we know if he's healthy, he's going to produce. And when we talk about impact on winning, I actually expect the Lakers to be improve pretty good amount next year. And here's the reason why. 1, they have a lot of returning players who are going to improve and have reasons to improve. D'Angelo Russell, contract year. If he want to improve on that $18-20 million a year, he got to show up. Lastly and additionally, Gabe Vincent and Jared Vanderbilt, 2 players who were anticipated to play a big role for the Lakers last year, each missed over 40 games. So combined with the fact that we have AD playing the best basketball of his career, we have Jared Vanderbilt, Gabe Vincent coming back healthy, D'Angelo Russell in a contract year, and you got LeBron James to bring it all together, along with a fresh head coach, some new energy in LA. Look, LeBron is going to produce. LA is going to improve on the amount of games they won. So I have LeBron as my number 6 player heading into next season. And number 5, appreciate y'all trusting the process, because I'm about to name my number 5 player, which is Joel Embiid. So last year, Joel Embiid averaged 34.7 points a game, 11 rebounds, 5.6 assists, 53% from the field, 39% from 3, around 2 blocks a game. The man is a video game. Joel Embiid puts up video game type numbers unquestioned. We will not question Joel Embiid's production. We will not question Joel Embiid's impact on winning. We have to question Joel Embiid's availability. Even if you're a casual, you know. Look, last year the 76ers were winning at a 60% rate when they had Joel Embiid. They became a 500 team and below when he was out. If Joel Embiid plays, he's going to be great. The reason why I still have him high is because, like I said, we cannot deny his production and what he does when he's on the court. Also, the addition of Paul George with the improvement of Tyrese Maxey leads me to believe the 76ers will win more games. So even in those times where he's out, the 76ers will be able to win, and he'll be able to take a few more rests here and there, which will hopefully have him more fresh towards the end of the season. But look, I know the man gets hurt, but look, the numbers are 2K like. So I have Joel Embiid as my number 5 player heading into next season. And number 4, I'm going to catch some hate for this. My number 4 player heading into the 2024-2025 NBA season is Luka Doncic. So last year, Luka put up 33.9 points a game, 9 rebounds, 9.8 assists, around 49% from the field, 38% from 3. He finished number 3 in the MVP race. He was all NBA first team. He was an all-star again. He made his first NBA finals. At this point in the list, we just splitting hairs. We have so many great players. We just have to pick and choose, and I got to nitpick. Luka Doncic is phenomenal. He is a system unto himself. Like I said, he reminds me of prime James Harden, where he's a guaranteed playoff berth. You just give him the ball, he's going to make things happen offensively. The one knock I'm going to have on Luka is defensively. I've always had this criticism of Luka. I think it got put on more display last year in the finals against the Celtics. Now, what I will say is the Celtics are more equipped to exploit him defensively, because while Jayson Tatum and Jaylen Brunson are only one-on-one players, Drew Holiday, Derek White, if they catch the ball from the triple threat, they can take him off the dribble. So they are uniquely suited to exploit what Luka does. But the reality is Luka does have to improve his defense. He carries too much offensive responsibility to be a defensive stopper, but he can't just be a turnstile allowing penetration, which is just going to give layups and open threes. But aside from that, this man's a guaranteed playoff berth. He puts up video game type numbers. Luka Doncic could just go out there and give you 70, and you would not be surprised because he is that good. The Mavericks are going to be competing for a top 4 seed. There are many people's picks to get back to the NBA Finals, and that has a lot to do with my number 4 player, Luka Doncic. Number 3, a guy who I feel is falling victim to what we call fatigue, and we've kind of been spoiled. See, we have these Wimbies coming in, and you know, we like to use the term freak so much, we didn't forgot about the Greek freak. And my number 3 player heading into next season is Giannis Antetokounmpo from the Milwaukee Bucks. So last year, Giannis put up 30.4 points per game, 11.5 rebounds, 6.5 assists. He shot 61% from the field, as well as 27% from 3, but we know Giannis doesn't shoot threes. All this en route to a top 10 defensive player of the year finish. He was an all-star. He was an all-NBA player as well, and he also put up MVP caliber numbers. Look, I actually expect the Bucks to surprise a few people this year for a few reasons. One, I think Dame is going to be motivated to improve from last year. Even though I'm not the biggest fan of Doc, I do think having a full offseason, especially after that messy transition, is going to help them improve. We got to see Chris Middleton be kind of healthy toward the end of last year. And Giannis is another one of those guys who I feel like needs to play with a chip on his shoulder. We got all these people talking about the Lukas. We just saw Jayson Tatum win his championship. We got Wemby's the new flavor of the month. We're forgetting about how good Giannis is. Like, this is a guy who isn't even considered a scorer, who is guaranteed to give you 30 points per game and play some of the most versatile defense that we see in the NBA. Like I said, the last 6 years, he's been a top 10 defensive player of the year finisher, and he's also won it. So, look, we know Giannis is going to produce. The Bucks have the roster, which should have them fighting for a top 3 to 4 seed. And when you have somebody with Giannis's talent, and I anticipate him playing with a bit of a chip on his shoulder, as well as a motivated Damian Lillard, look, he's going to produce. Giannis is going to impact winning. That's why I have Giannis as my number 3 player heading into next NBA season. Number 2 actually comes from a player who I feel comes from the team who had the best offseason in the NBA, and that is Shai GilgeousAlexander from the Oklahoma City Thunder. So, last year, Shai put up 30.1 points per game, 5.5 rebounds, 6.2 assists, shot around 53% from the field, and 35% from 3. He was number 2 in the MVP voting. He was actually number 7 in Defensive Player of the Year, averaged over 2 steals. He was all NBA. He was an all-star. Now, here's even the crazier thing about Shai. The year before, Shai averaged over 30 points per game on 50% shooting. And last year, he actually got most improved player votes. The fact that you could average over 30 points per game on 50% shooting and play strong defense, mind you, those are numbers that are normally reserved for big men. You don't see guards scoring 30 points per game and shooting 50%. And they're telling me, and they're telling y'all, that he was even better than that last year. Look, Oklahoma City is going to win a lot of games. They are loaded with perimeter defenders. Shiggy, we got Dort, We got Williams. They added Caruso. Like, to add Caruso to that mix. And the one weakness they had last year was size, physicality, and rebounding. And they went out and got Isaiah Hartenstein. The Thunder have absolutely no weaknesses, and they have one of the best players in the NBA, one of the most efficient players in the NBA, and I anticipate him having an amazing season. I have Shai GilgeousAlexander as my number 2 player heading into the next season. And number 1, mini drum roll. That wasn't a great drum roll. I don't make beats. I'm a battle rapper. My number 1 player heading into the next season is Nikola Jokic from the Denver Nuggets. So, last year, Jokic put up 26.4 points per game, 12.4 rebounds, 9 assists per game, as well as shooting 58% from the field and around 36% from 3. He was the MVP. He was an all-star. He was all NBA first team. The Nuggets were a top 3 seed. That will not change this year. I recognize they lost KCP, but when you have a player like Jokic, you're always going to be in the running. One of the things I do as a teacher, I analyze a lot of data. So if you look at the data, you look at the numbers, you know how good Jokic is. But another thing I had to learn how to do is being able to evaluate people's skill sets and abilities with the eye test. When you watch Jokic on the court and you give him that eye test, you see his basketball IQ. You see the placement of his passes. You see the way he's able to get to his spots on the floor and create his shots from the low post, the mid-range, even taking it back out to the 3. The man has no weaknesses offensively, and he's respectable defensively. People, this is a 3-time league MVP, an NBA champion, and one of the most consistent players we've seen in the last 50 years. Nikola Jokic is the number 1 player in the NBA until somebody says something about it. Point blank, period. So, that's where we're going to end the video at. Appreciate y'all tuning in. Remember, like, comment, subscribe. Do you agree with what the third eye sees? Tell me why you think I'm wrong. I'll show you why I'm right. Until next time, appreciate y'all tuning in. Be blessed.